You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
Look, it's the time of year where in college football, when you get beyond spring and then the spring portal, and before you get to media days, the talking season, your college football writers have to fill the time, right? And that's when you start to see lists and a lot of stuff like that. And we make fun of it every year. We have the bit where we do the feigned indignance. Oh, you have it? Yeah.
And now it's time for Feigned Indignance from Sports Talk Radio Guy over random summertime sports lists.
We make fun of this sort of stuff throughout the summer. This one caught my eye, though, because I just found it to be high comedy. CBS Sports has a piece up right now about top football coaches facing pressure in 2024. Gauge it however you want. Pressure, hot seat. And they list Dabo, Lincoln Riley, Ryan Day. And I can understand a lot. Dabo, for sure, for a lot of reasons we've discussed. Ryan Day, I mean, the only thing Ohio State hates more than them losing is Michigan winning. And you've lost to Michigan now 3 years in a row, and they won a natty. I mean, I get that there's pressure on Ryan Day now, in the same way that there would be pressure on an LSU coach who kept losing to Alabama. We saw that with Les. Lincoln Riley, same thing. You had tremendous expectation there a year ago, and you fell short with Caleb Williams. So I get it. But they also list here, aside from Ryan Day and Dabo, Lincoln Riley, James Franklin at Penn State, they list Brian Kelly. And they talk about how his record so far has been good at 20-7, 12-4 in the league, SEC championship game appearance, all that sort of stuff. But they also note that Brian Kelly wasted a transcendent year last year with Jaden Daniels, who won a Heisman, but the defense was so bad, and they didn't really do anything this offseason to address the defense personnel-wise, as we've talked about. Okay. I think, first of all, let me just be so abundantly clear. Brian Kelly is facing no legitimate pressure. I mean, zero. I'm talking about job security, right? Zero pressure. He might as well be sitting on a throne made of icicles. The Fortress of Solitude that Superman went to, that ice palace, that's the throne Brian Kelly is sitting on right now relative to the temperature of his seat. There is no temperature at all, no heat whatsoever on Brian Kelly. First of all, he was hired by Scott Woodward, who is still the athletic director. And athletic directors always will give coaches they hired the benefit of the doubt, because a coach that doesn't work out is a reflection on the athletic director that hired that coach in any sport. It's a lot of times why you see an AD get blown out before a head coach gets moved. It clears the deck and clears the path. But more importantly than that, Brian Kelly is under contract at LSU through 2031. Okay? 2031. That's 7 more years after this one. And if LSU were to fire him, they would owe him 90% of his remaining contract. I admittedly stink at math. I'm terrible at math. But I went and looked it up today. If LSU fired Brian Kelly after the 2024 season, they would owe him $60.84 million. That's 60.84 million dollars. There is a better chance of me becoming president of the United States in this cycle than Brian Kelly being fired and LSU owing him $60.84 million. There's a better chance of me becoming a national spokesperson for Head & Shoulders than Brian Kelly being fired and LSU paying him $60.84 million. It ain't happening. There is no pressure on him whatsoever. I said it the day he was hired and they gave him this contract. For better or worse, with that contract, you are financially tied to Brian Kelly for a decade, and he to you. And I'm okay with that because I think he is a great program builder, organizer. He is building culture around LSU, and he's building something that I believe is going to be sustainable, and I do believe Brian Kelly will win a national championship. So, look, we can talk about what's happened the last 2 years, and it's conversations we've had, and I think there's merit to. Understand what he inherited. We all know the answer now, but it's worth mentioning again. Brian Kelly inherited a program that had a sub 500 record the 2 years after winning the national championship. He had 39 scholarship players in that bowl game and a receiver playing quarterback. That's what he inherited. In the first year, boom, beats Bama, gets you to Atlanta. Exceeded everybody's expectation. And in year 2, you have a Heisman winner and you win 10 games again. I get it. The expectation isn't 9-3 and win the ReliaQuest Bowl. I know that. You know that. Brian Kelly knows that. That dude didn't leave South Bend to come to Baton Rouge to go 9-3. He left South Bend to come to Baton Rouge to win a national championship because he saw Les Miles and Ed Ogeron do it and said, I can do that. And he's right. And when you look at the 2025 class he's building and the prospects in the state of Louisiana, the bumper crop, you got 3 players in the top 10 in the country in this state, all within an hour from your campus for 2026. Yeah, there's about to be an influx of talent, including the number 1 quarterback in the country, into this program that is going to allow him to sustainably build a national title contender over a multitude of years in his contract. And I do believe he's going to win a national championship. We got a different format coming to college football. Yes, that'll change things, and we'll see how it all evolves and develops. It's a changing of times as well, but I'll remind you, LSU won 2 national championships in the BCS era. They won a championship in the college football playoff era. In an expanded playoff, I think they'll be able to do the same thing. But anyone who is trying to suggest in any way that Brian Kelly is under pressure or on the hot seat or a coach to watch, or the pressure that accompanies being the LSU head football coach is very real for everyone that sits in that seat. Yes, you have to win, and the expectation is to win, compete for championships, and he knows that. But the financial albatross that's hanging around LSU's neck makes it absolutely impossible to fire Brian Kelly at any point in the next half decade. Because LSU is not going to pay $60.84 million or $51 million next year or $41 million a year after that or keep descending it. It was a massive mountain to move. To pay Ed Ogeron $17 and buy out the rest of his staff. It cost you $20 million to buy out Ed Ogeron and his entire staff, and that was a tough sell. So no, Brian Kelly's not under pressure. He's not on the hot seat, and nor should he be. He inherited an awful situation, and he's building it into something sustainable, and that's going to take time. But you're already seeing the results, and there's even better results to come.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.